The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Hello again there. Welcome back to another uncut video version flashback of the Closing with a Song segment here on the show. Today comes to you from the Madonna Like a Virgin episode from back in January. My guest was Danielle Sepulveres. Now, this one may not jump up in length as much as the previous one yesterday did. I think it goes a little bit like 5 to 7 minutes longer, but it has an interesting tangent. Danielle and I talk about Scott Mendelson, a friend of the show, frequent guest of the show, for a little bit in there that kind of went off topic. She has some really kind things to say about him and is interesting. And as always, Danielle has lots of stories and she's really good at telling them. And she's been one of my favorite guests I've had on. And we're already been talking about her return to the show. But if you're a podcaster out there and you haven't asked her to be on your show, you're making a big mistake. Because I don't even think you need to have a topic. Just talk to her and she could fill up your time and give you some of the most entertaining content you've had. So I hope you enjoyed this one today. Madonna Like a Virgin, special guest Danielle Sepulveres. Follow her on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can. And always check out the Adult Spelling Bee, which is a fantastic game show she runs. And I was very fortunate to be a part of in the past. So there you go. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for returning as we close the week out with a song. Returning from earlier in the week, freelance writer and creator of the Adult Spelling Bee, Danielle Sepulveres.
Hello.
On this edition, we're talking about the music video for Madonna's 1984 single, Like a Virgin, the lead single of the album the same name. There are other singles on that album you might know about called Material Girl, Angel, Into the Groove, and Dress You Up. It was Madonna's first #1 single and turned her into a global sensation. The single alone sold over 5 million copies worldwide. It was written by a couple of dudes, so it's kind of fitting with Working Girl that we talked about. Tom Kelly and Billy Steinberg. This duo also wrote True Colors for Cyndi Lauper and Eternal Flame for the Bangles. So yes, they'll probably be talked about on this show again sometime in the future. It was intended to be a sensitive ballad from the male experience.
They wrote some bops.
Yeah, so the video here we have directed by Mary Lambert, who had directed Borderline for Madonna before this, and would also direct the Madonna videos Material Girl, La Isla Bonita, Like a Prayer. And in terms of music videos, she's done them from The Go-Go's, Eurythmics, Chris Isaak, Janet Jackson, Rod Stewart, Sting, Bobby Brown, Motley Crue, Lionel Richie, and Queensryche. Film-wise, she's the director of Pet Sematary and Pet Sematary 2. She also directed Tales from the Crypt episode, the movie The In Crowd. I know I have people listen to us that love the Halloween Town movies, so she directed Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. She's directed for The Blacklist and Arrow. Plenty of TV, but not to be overlooked. Not to be overlooked in her filmography, maybe the golden child of it, Mega Python vs. Gatoroid, starring Tiffany and Debbie Gibson.
That sounds like a USA Up All Night movie from back in the day.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. It's one of the sci-fi afternoon 2CG things, which it's funny. My friend Scott Mendelson from Forbes, his first ever credit on the back of a DVD was for like one of the like Mega Shark versus Octopus or like that or something like that. It was great. It was like, it's always fun to return to. But
I
that
like
was
what he writes about movies. He has smart opinions.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I've known him. He was my first friend when I moved out in LA, actually. So he calls me his protege a lot.
I like that.
I guess.
He's one of the few people I've seen in the past couple of years who acknowledges that there's this weird frontier in movie and TV criticism where people seem to think that if a character does something in a work of fiction, it means the creators condone that action or condone that behavior, which has become a very weird thing. Like, just because something's being depicted doesn't mean it's condoned by the filmmakers. It's a very strange thing. And also, I mean, it's a fine line to walk because there should be representation, and this is not like the same conversation as representation. Representation is important and all that, but also there's certain just like plot points that people seem to want to mirror exact real life.
Right.
Like if the whole movie or the whole TV show mirrored real life exactly how it was, it would be the most boring piece of crap. Like no one would watch it. And it's funny because so my cousin is a forensic psychologist, and so she gets really annoyed when they depict that or any psychology profession in a really unprofessional way.
Yeah.
And I do get her point though, because a lot of times a common theme is that a psychologist is like sleeping with their patient. She's like, I'm so sick of that trope. Like, they need to stop doing that. And it's true. That is very lazy. But like for a lot of things, you have to suspend disbelief a little bit.
Right.
If you're going to go into a movie. And also movies and TV shows aren't necessarily responsible for teaching us like exact details of how things happen. Like that's what, books and school and, education is for. So it's such a weird thing because sometimes people act like there's no other possible way to find out the actual information behind an event or,
right.
Or the way someone would behave in a certain profession. And it's like, well, I mean, I don't particularly look to Netflix shows to teach myself like how lawyers actually are supposed to behave in
right.
But apparently some people think they should. So, but yeah, I feel like
people have a hard time realizing stuff's just made up.
It's made up. And like, a lot of shows have consultants on specific things like that. Like I worked on law shows and medical shows and different shows where there's consultants, but majority of the time the consultants are giving them the line to walk between like, this could happen. It probably wouldn't happen in real life, but there's a possibility of it. So then it gets embellished upon to create the dramatic effect that it does on a television show or in a movie. So yeah, I think there's definitely valid opinions about, disliking the way things are showcased or depicted. And I get that, but, that's a thing that I noticed Scott has commented on, and I've noticed it too. And I mean, I'm not a critic like him. So I think it's important that someone like him is like, hey, this is weird that people do this now.
Yeah. It's like not, like people get held accountable. Like, they played a character. I think one of the most important things to maybe not, I don't know, support or whatever, but for me, when you kind of like get movies, one of the most important things that I think is underappreciated or people just turn their nose to, but it helps a full understanding, is understanding the business side of making a movie. That's always it's not the sexy part. It's not what people want to know. But you'll understand movies a hell of a lot better if you understand what studio notes are, how and how stuff's written, how books don't translate directly to a film. Like there's a lot of businessy things that always like, it's not the fun part to learn about, but if you learn more about it, it's going to make a lot of sense, and you're going to appreciate creators and stuff a lot more when you see what kind of things and how something comes together, because it's the missing piece that you're constantly asking about but refuse to look into. You're
totally right about that, because that's something, now that I've worked behind the scenes in TV and film, it's something I think about a lot. Like if I'm watching a show that I really like and a storyline gets dropped or something like seems weird about where the plot's going, or all of a sudden like characters disappear, and now I think about the business side of things, and I'm like, oh well, because it's possible the network didn't sign
Yeah.
A character, like an actor, to stay past a certain episode, and then they couldn't get them, so then they had to, recalibrate
Right.
and go in a different direction. So, things like that come up. So
Or we have to move this to this because we don't want to make an 80-hour movie. Like,
Yep.
so he runs into it accidentally.
Mhm.
Whoops. Like that's what happens.
I feel like I wish that I had like a little bit wider screen so people could see I'm petting my dog instead of just like,
Look,
my arms just like.
well, I don't know what side I'm in over there, so maybe I'm over. I don't know because it'll look like.
I'm just petting my little dog. She's so cute. She's tired and sleepy and wants to go to bed.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Madonna, Like a Virgin.
I'm talking about Madonna. Sorry about that. So yes, did you pick Like a Virgin because of my book?
No, and I picked it. I sent you what to watch, and then I realized, I did not. I totally, because I moved from Material Girl. I was Material Girl first, and I'm like, I didn't like that video. I was like, for some reason, I wanted to hold on Material Girl and move around. And I was like, oh yeah, Like a Virgin, that's a good one. And then I sent it to you, and then afterwards, I'm like, she's gonna think I did that. And then you just asked me about that because it was not. It was not.
No, it's totally okay.
Everybody wants to know where I come up with, like, why'd you pick this one for me? Or I'm like, there's sometimes rhyme and reason. There's sometimes how it goes. But that was a happy accident.
I'm actually really glad, though, that you picked this one because rewatching it, I realized my most distinct memory of this song is not this music video, but her singing it at the MTV Music Awards.
Yeah.
Rolling around on the stage in her wedding dress, and her, her gloves and her jewelry and all that stuff, and like, what a scandal it was, and that kind of thing. Because I believe she was like humping the stage, or
oh yeah, she was rolling around. So, yeah.
So like that's what I think of visually when I think of the song. But it was really fun to watch the video again because I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about the tiger. There's the tiger.
There's a tiger. The guy with the mask.
The guy with the tiger. Because you never really see the guy's face full on. You see like a little bit here. You see like the back. And in fact, like when he's first carrying her from the back, he looks like an old man.
Yeah.
So I watched it a couple times, and I'm like, am I wrong? Is it a different person, or is it just like the lighting hitting his hair differently? Like,
well, when he laid her down, it looked like he had a priest collar on the first time. I was like, wait, is that supposed to be a priest? And then he showed he had like a tie. I was like,
right. And I'm like, what? So I kept second guessing myself with it. But yeah, it was. It's quintessential Madonna of the era, like where I love that she had so many phases.
Oh yeah. And there's like this is her, like you mentioned, the wedding dress. Like it's in the video, it's on the album cover. She did that performance with it, and it's funny that the one in the wedding dress in the video is like the horniest version of her in it. Like the other ones are just dancing, having like on the gondola, going through Italy. And then I did like when there's a bit of a weird symbolism when she's in that ballroom and she's pulling the covers off the chairs, like making the antiques new again. I was like, oh, okay, that was a nice little touch there.
I love that. Yeah, I love the video because it's super fun. And she's just like, I mean, it's very sexual, obviously, but like she's like rolling around on the gondola and the guy's just,
Yeah.
But she's it's like her outfit is so 80s and so iconic. And, when, I was growing up in the 80s, all my friends and I, as kids in elementary school, middle school, like we wanted to dress like Madonna. Like we totally, and then the 90s hit and then we were all grunge and flannels and jeans that were too big and like trying to wear our dad's clothes and stuff.
I miss my 90s jeans though.
But before that was like, pink hot pants and wigwam socks and like big tops over like tights, hot pants and big hair. I had like a perm every other year, like when I was in middle school. And yeah, she was the epitome of cool. We used to go after school. We'd like go to someone's house and put on a cassette tape of Madonna and like dance around. And Like a Virgin was actually a point of contention for some of us, like because we would dance to Material Girl, and the thing was like we would try to imitate some of her dance moves from stuff, but then like originally, you can't. And so we like the song would come on and we would sing it, but we would sort of like look at each other uncomfortably, like I don't know. Like, whereas like Material Girl and Borderline and Open Your Heart, like and like
Lucky Star,
all these other songs that had more like dancey things where she's just sort of like hopping around and doing different stuff. Like especially I think Material Girl was the most fun for us to act out because of course we all had idealized thoughts of Marilyn Monroe.
Oh,
and she's
well, that's what I wanted to bring up. Like growing up the 80s, I remember it was like they told us, the industry told us like Marilyn Monroe is back and she's Madonna. Like that's how she was treated. Like it was like, oh, Marilyn Monroe's back. Like she was like she just like the second incarnation of, and she was like not like her at all. but they dress her like it. They treat her, and it's like she's not. And there was an actress that was right around the time before Madonna broke out that was being used as like, because she looked like Marilyn Monroe, she played like a lookalike in like 5 movies, including Fade to Black, which is one of the Vinegar Syndrome titles I picked up, which I talked about earlier. But she's in like 5 movies as like Marilyn lookalike, something like that. And then Madonna comes and there's no movies from this woman anymore.
And speaking of Madonna in movies, Desperately Seeking Susan is an underrated classic.
Yeah. And she, that one, and she's really good in Dick Tracy. That one.
She is really good in Dick Tracy.
Like how she didn't blow up bigger. I don't know if just some choices she made, but she had it. She had it. She's not a bad actor. Like
no, she's not. She was so. I mean, she basically played herself, I guess, in Desperately Seeking Susan. But
yeah,
she nailed it. It was perfect, and it was just she was so. It was almost like that movie brought to life like what you want Madonna to be. Like,
right?
She's so carefree, like doesn't give a shit. Like every man she meets falls in love with her. Like,
right. Well, then she had that erotic thriller movie with Defoe, I think, or was it The Body of?
Yeah, I did not see that.
Yeah, that was on Cinemax a lot when I was growing up. I think.
Boy.
Yeah, I think that was. They would show that one. But yeah, she should have blown up. I mean, she's got a lot of music stars have it in their videos. It's 4 minutes to be yourself. But this one really gives you, her last album was big, but this is, her first #1 hit. And this is just kind of breaking out. Hear the lion roar, literally. It's in the video. It even does a double take on its pant. That was weird. But she's all just different outfits, different shines than Madonna. She takes a boat from New York to Venice and back to New York.
I know that's when I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, it's in New York." I don't remember it being in New York. And then I'm like, "Yeah, she's on the gondola." Wait, no, it's New York in the beginning, New York at the end, but Italy in the middle. I don't know.
All by herself in Italy, almost.
Yeah, but I like how because she had so many different music videos with so many different vibes.
Right. Yeah.
And this one was very particular. It was really just her having a good time and owning something,
right.
Which at the time as kids, we didn't even quite understand
no
what it's going to be and what it all entailed or what exactly she was singing about. We just knew it was a dirty song that most of our parents were like,
she made a song about having sex, and then Cyndi Lauper made a song about touching herself. So it was all. But I had no idea She Bop was about that till later. It's just like, oh, She Bop, yeah.
Yep.
So
I did, and that reminds me. One of my friends, he didn't know. I think what is it? Tina Turner's Private Dancer.
Oh.
He didn't know that's what a private dancer was, and so he used to sing it. And one day his mom was like, "So." Maybe we should talk about this.
I had a friend in college. She told me once that in either high school or middle school, they were supposed to write an essay about a song, and she picked Berlin, "Take My Breath Away," and she wrote about it was about love and all da 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 da. And then as she gave her presentation in class, and her teacher pulled her aside, he's like, "No, it's about masturbation." That's That's what it is. It's about lust, master. Oh, okay. It's like, but sometimes the song is no longer what the artist meant once it delivers. I mean, people have first dance to "Every Breath You Take" by the Police, and that's a stalker song.
It's a stalker.
But maybe once it's released from the artist, it means something else to someone who hears it. I don't know, but yeah.
Now you're just reminding me of something, and now I'm Googling it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's it. I couldn't think of the name of the song. Okay, so Sarah McLachlan's song "Possession."
Okay.
She had a stalker who this was actually the story way back in the day, and now I'm gonna have to Google it to see if this is like an urban legend or if it's an actual real thing. But I remember the story was that some of the lines in it that I can't remember now, like that's someone. Yes, okay. She got consistent fan letters from a guy, and then like the guy sued her. And then he died by suicide. Like, clearly there was some issues there, but like I remember saying like there was a guy who was abnormally attached to her, like a fan.
Okay.
And in Possession, there's like a couple lyrics where it says, "I'll hold you down, I'll kiss you so hard, I'll take your breath away," and meanwhile, it like ends up being this amazing lyric in the song.
Yeah.
But like he had said at some point that it came from these letters. Like he said, like that was something he said to her. "I'll hold you down. I'll kiss you so hard. I'll take your breath away." And it's funny because like when you put in that context, it does sound terrible. But like in the song, it sounds like kind of sexy and like kind of good.
Heat of the moment.
And then you're like, oh shit, that's the origin story? Well, that's not great.
Don't tell me that. Don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I know. I'm like, I knew it was Sarah McLachlan, but I couldn't remember what song it was. But yeah, anyway, yes, this has been quite a tangent from Like a Virgin.
Yeah.
But Possession, that's sort of springboard off of Like a Virgin, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. The song Rolling Stone and MTV placed it in as their fourth best pop song of all time on their list they put out in 2000. It ranked number 10 on VH1's best songs from the past 25 years, which I don't know when that aired, but there's 25 years to mesh in there. It was 95 on the Billboard Hot 100 all-time songs, and considered one of the 500 greatest songs that shaped rock and roll.
It's a really good song. It's not my favorite Madonna song, but it's a really good song, and it's a really fun song. And there's something about having grown up being like too young to be listening to it.
Right.
When it came out, that also makes it kind of special because we loved it and we loved to sing it. And I mean, my parents were cool about music. Like they didn't really get too involved in like what lyrics were, like what we were listening to, and kind of, didn't throw up any like, oh, you can't. I actually remember my mom. There were some parents who didn't like. Oh, this has got to be early 90s. Let's Talk About Sex, I think was the song that they didn't like. And Right Said Fred's I'm Too Sexy. They did not like either. And I remember my mom being like, I don't know what these songs are. And I played them for her. And she was like, oh, they're not bad. That's like, why are people mad about these songs? Like, and then with Right Said Fred, she would sing I'm Too Sexy. Like, she thought it was funny. Like, she thought it was a funny
song. I thought it was a funny song when I was like, I was not younger, and my parents didn't care because I thought I'm Too Sexy for My Cat was like the funniest damn thing. So
weird lyrics.
And then like Sir Mix-a-Lot came around, and they just weren't stopping us. Like I recently recollect a friend of mine was telling me something about their first parental advisory CD or whatever, like that they bought, and I remember my story. Like I like the floodgates opened immediately because the first time I ever like bought my own like CD, I was like my dad dropped me off at like a Best Buy. He's like, yeah, go in and get it or whatever. And I bought White Zombie, Astro Creep 2000. Had the explicit thing on there. Nobody carded me. I don't know. I had to been like 12, 13 or something. And I take it out and he looks, he's like, fine. And then my mom's is like, what? And it's just like, once you go there, it's just done. He can listen to whatever he wants.
It's so funny.
But I used to do that. I was bad. Like, give me a curfew, I'll keep breaking it till you drop it. I'll take the punishment, do whatever. And then cussing around them, I just started doing it. Stop it. Fine. We cuss together now. So I would do that. But yeah. So awesome. So thank you. I'll complete another week here on the show. Danielle, you rule. And thank you so much for coming on. I've had like a ton of fun. One more time here, let people know where they can find your work and keep up with you.
Okay. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Elsep, ELLESEP. You can go to my website, which is daniellesep.com, which is where all my writing lives, and ways to get in touch with me and videos that I've done and information about the Adult Spelling Bee. Sometimes people send me emails asking to play or suggesting themes. I'm always open to theme suggestions, even though we're backlogged with lots of new stuff for the next few months, but I'm always willing to listen. And yeah, if you like pictures of really cute dogs, my dog Brandy, you can almost sort of see her passed out right over here. She's on my Instagram at Danielle Sep. And also all the info about spelling bee is usually there too. So it's dogs and bees on Instagram.
There you go. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Written work on whysoblue.com. The Brandon Peters Show returns next week. But until then, always remember to keep the positivity in your online film chatter.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.